The Israelis found it difficult to defeat the Egyptian forces that had been caught in the so called Fallujah pocket. Egypt's main military effort was directed towards the coast, where their advance was halted at the end of the first week of the official war. Since that debacle, they found themselves gradually being pushed back to the border. A second expeditionary force had been sent to southern Jerusalem, where its troops had some initial successes. By the middle of July, however, a third Egyptian contingent in the northern Negev had been cut off from both the forces on the coast and those in southern Jerusalem, and now counted in vain on the Jordanian reinforcements that were scheduled to meet up with them in the original Arab war scheme. By the end of July, the Israelis started strengthening the siege around this pocket to force it to surrender. The Egyptians, however, held on until the end of the year. The disintegration of the Egyptian forces left the northern Negev from the slopes of Mount Hebron to the Mediterranean sea near Gaza at the mercy of the Israeli troops. The belt of villages that had been settled centuries ago on the edge of the arid Negev desert were now stormed, occupied, and expelled in quick succession. Only the Gaza Strip and the West Bank were successfully protected by Egyptian and Jordanian troops, respectively, who thereby prevented many more refugees from being added to the thousands of Palestinians already expelled since December 1947. Sensing that their violation of the truce would go uncensored as long as it was directed towards the remaining Arab pockets within the Jewish state as designated by UN Resolution 181, the Zionist leadership also continued their operations in August and beyond. They now clearly envisaged this Jewish state as stretching over most of Palestine, in fact, all of it. Had it not been for the Egyptian and, crucially, Jordanian steadfastness. Consequently, villages that had gradually been isolated were now easily cleansed, while the UN observers who had been sent in to supervise the truce watched nearby. Also in August, the Jewish forces took the opportunity of the truce to make some modifications to areas they had already occupied. These might have been on the orders of a local commander, for which he did not need authorization from above, or occasionally at the request of a particular group, which may have collaborated with the Zionists and now wanted to take part in the division of the spoils. One such place was the Druze village of Isfiya on the Carmel. The Druze notables of Isfiya asked for the Bedouin living in their town to be expelled, claiming they were thieves, the Bedouins, and generally incompatible. The commander in charge said he did not have the time to deal with expulsions of people who were not in any case totally alien to the village. The Bedouins of Isfiya are still there today, discriminated against as lesser members of the local community, but fortunate that the Israeli army was too busy to follow up on the request of the Druze. These internal skirmishes show that in the relative calm that had descended on the fronts with the Arab armies, Israel had decided the time had come to institutionalize the occupation.